plant cat love. Oh, I love you. Hi friends, hope you're doing well today. Today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite plants of all time, the philodendron micans. I will be talking about light, soil, water, propagation, humidity, and other care tips so that you can grow your micans to be nice and lush and full. Now before I get started, if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It really supports my channel, and if you do end up liking this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you'd like me to talk about any other plants, then let me know in the comments below. And before I get started, I want to go ahead and show you my newest micans edition. If you've been following me for a long time, then you'll know that I've been buying little scraps and cuttings in hopes of one day having my own lush full pot. And as of recently, I came across one in person, completely unplanned. I was actually going in to buy shampoo bars. And this is a plant that I know I've been wanting. All right, so here's the newest addition to my collection. This is in an 8-inch pot and it's super lush and it's trailing. I guess the opportunity presented itself, so I picked it up and I'm very happy with it. Okay, so that takes us to the main part of this video, which is micans care. First, we are going to cover water. Now for watering micans, just like most philodendrons, you're going to want to water when the soil is about 90% dry. So micans are not actually as vocal for watering as other philodendrons, but they're definitely on the easier side to take care of. I haven't had any problem with slightly overwatering them or having them bone dry. If you do find that the leaves on the bottom, for example, on the oldest leaves are yellowing, that may be a sign that you are over or under watering, so that's something to pay attention to. Okay, so for watering, make sure that the soil is mostly dry and then water thoroughly. If you have well-drained soil, then the water will seep right through the pot, and if you prefer to bottom water, then just leave it on there for a few minutes. Don't let the pot sit in water. Okay, moving on to light. So for micans specifically, I have them pretty much all around my house, and that includes north, south, east, and west facing windows. I don't find that any of them show any signs of distress. Now, I also have heard other people saying that micans do better in like lower lighting, not exactly low light, but I would say more medium light, and that they show some sort of distress when placed in a like bright and direct light. I haven't had that experience myself personally, but I think that means that they can tolerate lower light as well as bright and direct light, and that would just be, I wouldn't put it like straight next to a south facing window. I think that would cause too much sun damage, but they're pretty flexible in their light conditions. So I would say you can comfortably put it in a medium low light setting or a bright and direct light setting, and they would be just fine. So for cuttings like this, I have it in my prop box with grow lights right on top. I mean, these just blew up as soon as I put it in that environment. Before, I had it in my IKEA cabinet, and my cabinet is placed right in between a south and west facing window, which is great light as well. But the cuttings blew up as soon as I put it in the prop box. So experiment. These plants are hardy enough to go through different environments and it can withstand change. Next, we're moving on to soil. Now for soil, a chunky mix that you would use for aeroids works just fine. All of these are in soil except for the cutting propagations. They're currently in sphagnum moss, but they all have aeroid soil and they're doing just fine. They cling onto sphagnum really well, so that's also something to try. I find that micans roots tend to get really root bound really quickly, as you saw with this plant. I bought this plant as rooted cuttings, essentially potted up. They grow their roots really fast, but I don't think that that's an indication to repot right away. Let it get root bound a little. If you find that you're watering your micans more and more often, that's usually a sign that it's root bound and needs a bigger pot. If you don't mind watering it that often, keep it in there for a little bit. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna talk humidity and temperature. Micans, like most philodendrons, do well in normal household temperatures and normal household humidity. One thing to keep in mind, if you find that your micans is growing in a little wonky and that the leaf is not unfurling as easily, and so causing the leaf to go a little wonky. That means that you might want to increase your humidity in order for the leaf to come out smoothly. And I can show you that with this new plant that I just got. I had to unfurl this manually because it was stuck right at the tip. Now that it's out, it has an easier time unfurling, but that simply means that you need to increase your humidity. I find that that's the biggest issue with micans. You get like super wonky leaves if it doesn't get to unfurl correctly. That's just something to keep an eye on. I find that even if they unfurl kind of wonky, when they mature, they end up like flattening out. Sure, you'll get some damage on the leaves, and I'm going to show you one that I think this is damage from unfurling incorrectly right there. So not cute, but it flattens out, and it just kind of becomes a beautiful leaf anyway. Keep an eye out if wanting to unfurl and you can help it, then I would. Maybe a Q-tip with a little bit of water, but it doesn't need that all the time. As far as humidity goes, I don't have any of my micans in super high humidity. I have, besides the cuttings that I have in my prop box, which is very humid, I have 2 outside of the greenhouse cabinet, 2 in the greenhouse cabinet, and then the new one that I just got. So there's a good range of humidity, and all the plants are doing fine. They're doing well, actually. So I don't think that high humidity is necessarily a priority with this plant. Okay, so next I want to talk about propagation. Propagation is probably the area where, in this case, I have the most experience, because all the plants that I received when I was first getting into this plant, I chopped up. I propped, and now we're here. So all of the plants that I have now that are actually plants and rooted, they all started as cuttings, and so I would say that I'm a pro. Not to brag. So I think that propagating in sphagnum is the best way to go for this plant specifically. I did try water. Water takes forever. Even if it's fertilized water, it takes forever. So sphagnum is the way to go. If you can close it up a little, like in a propagation box, that would be ideal. As you can see, they kind of just blow up. And these plants can be propagated as single leaf cuttings or as vine cuttings if you're looking to get a vine as opposed to a fuller plant at the base. So yeah, propagation success rate is about 90%, I would say, 95% even, depending on your method. If you like perlite, let me know how that works for you. I would love to experiment. Now that I have a fuller plant, I can definitely do that. Some leaves come in this orange color, and then others come in this bright green color. So I think that's really fascinating, even within the same plant. And I know there's different kinds of micans. I've even seen a variegated one online. I don't even know if that's real. Are you done interrupting me? Get up. Okay, love. Plant, cat, love. Oh, I love you. So lastly, I do want to talk about fertilizer. Now, fertilizer became really important to me about 6 months ago, and I honestly can't go back without fertilizer. One of the fertilizers that I use is liquid dirt, and I use that alternatively with another one that I will go ahead and show you. I use Stroke My Leaves fertilizer. This is liquid gold, I believe they call it. This has been kind of a game changer as far as new growth, fast rooting, specifically for cuttings and water. This one's gentle enough, just like liquid dirt, to use on every watering. And I just really like it. It's easy to use, and you just mix it in kind of like liquid dirt, except it's less steps. And I honestly can't go back to not fertilizing. So if you're not fertilizing your plants yet, please start fertilizing your plants. Thank you. And fertilizing for micans is as simple as any philodendron. So every watering has fertilizer. I do cut that back during the winter time, but there are no rules. If you want to fertilize in the winter, then go for it. And if the climate allows for it, if your micans is still growing, I would do it. I actually soaked my sphagnum in liquid dirt, and this is what happened. And then I watered it when it became dry with my Stroke My Leaves water. So the combination of both definitely, and then the environment obviously made this one come out really fast and grow really fast. I will leave the link for both liquid dirt and Stroke My Leaves in my description box if you want to check it out. All right, if you've stuck with me until this long, thank you, you're the real MVP. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and like, and all that jazz. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you here next week. Bye.